Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Talk with Hana. I'm so happy you're here with us today. Whether you're listening on your way to work, relaxing at home, or studying in a cafe, we are so glad you joined us.
Hey, great to be here again. I was actually thinking about today's topic this morning, and I got a little nervous just imagining it happening to me. Has that ever happened to you? You're right in the middle of a conversation, and suddenly your mind just goes completely blank.
Oh, all the time. Honestly, even in my first language sometimes, I just forget a word completely. It's like it disappears from your brain for a few seconds. And in English, when you're still learning, that feeling can be really stressful.
That's exactly what we're talking about today. We're going to teach you what to do when you forget a word in English so you can keep the conversation going without panicking, without freezing, and without going silent.
By the end of this episode, you're going to have real phrases and strategies you can use immediately. You won't need to stop the conversation. You won't need to look anything up. You'll just keep talking, naturally and confidently.
And here's a question for you right now. When you forget a word in English, what do you usually do? Do you stop talking? Do you say for a long time? Do you switch to your first language? Tell us in the comments. We'd really love to know.
Yes, write it in the comments below. And if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button right now and join our Talk with Hana family. We make new episodes every week to help your English get better and better.
All right, let's get into it. We have so much good stuff to share with you today. Let's start with the very first strategy, and it's one that will change everything for you.
Okay, so the first strategy is probably the most powerful one, and it's called describing what you mean. The idea is simple. If you don't know the exact word, you describe the thing instead. You talk around it. And the formula is really easy. You say something like, it's a thing that, or it's a place where, or it's a person who, and then you describe it in simple words. You don't need the exact word, you just explain it.
Let me give you some examples. Let's say you forget the word umbrella. You could say, it's a thing that you hold over your head when it rains. It keeps you dry. Boom, the other person understands immediately. Or imagine you forget the word library. You could say, it's a place where you can borrow books for free. Perfect, problem solved. Or maybe you forget the word dentist. You say, it's a person who works on your teeth. Simple, clear, natural.
I love this strategy because it's not just for learners. Native speakers do this too. Sometimes people just forget a word and they say, oh, it's that thing that you use it in the kitchen, it cuts vegetables, and everyone understands they mean a knife. So when you do this in English, it doesn't sound strange. It sounds totally normal.
And the structures you want to remember are, it's a thing that, it's a place where, it's a person who, it's a kind of, it's similar to. Can you try one right now? Think of something in the room around you. Try to describe it using it's a thing that, and say it out loud. Pause the video and try it. We'll wait.
Okay, seriously, practice that right now. Speaking out loud, even alone, is one of the best things you can do for your English. And you can even write your description in the comments below. We love reading them. Now, what about when you forget a verb, an action word? The same idea works. You can say, it's the thing you do when. For example, if you forget the word sneeze, you could say, it's the thing you do when your nose tickles and you go, achoo! Perfect.
Yes, and you can also use it's like to compare. If you forget escalator, you can say, it's like a moving staircase. If you forget humid, you can say, the weather is like very wet but not raining. The air feels heavy. That works beautifully. So remember, describe the size, the color, the shape, the use, where it is, what it does. The more details you give, the faster the other person understands. The key point is you never have to stop talking just because you don't know one word. You can always describe it. Keep that in mind as we move on to the next strategy.
All right, the second strategy is one I personally use all the time, even now. It's called using buying time phrases. These are short expressions you say when you need a moment to think. They keep the conversation moving while your brain catches up.
Right, and this is so natural in English. Nobody expects you to respond instantly every single time. Native speakers use these phrases constantly, so let's look at them. The most common ones are, how do I say this? What's the word? Let me think. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. How do I explain this?
It's on the tip of my tongue. I love that phrase. It means you almost remember the word. It's right there, but you just can't say it yet. And native speakers say this all the time. So if you use it, you sound really natural.
Let me show you how these sound in real situations. Imagine someone asks you, what's your favorite hobby? You could say, how do I say this in English? I really love, what's the word? It's like when you make things with your hands. Crafting, that's it. I love crafting. Did you notice? The conversation never stopped. There were a few thinking words in there, but the person kept talking and got to the answer.
Now, here's a tip about these phrases. Use them, but don't overuse them. If every sentence has, how do I say, what's the word, it can feel a little slow. The goal is to use one buying time phrase and then move quickly into your description or your attempt at the word.
Let's compare formal and informal versions too. Informal, what's the word again? Polite and natural. Let me think how to say this. More formal, if I understand correctly, you mean...
Okay, here's a quick practice activity for you. I'm going to ask you a question and I want you to answer it out loud, using a buying time phrase first. Ready? Here's the question. What do you do on weekends? First, say, let me think, and then answer. Go ahead, pause and try it. You can also write your answer in the comments below. We read every single one.
Great job if you tried that. Now let's look at 3 specific tips for using these phrases well. First, say the phrase with a natural, calm tone. Don't sound panicked. Sound like you're just thinking. Second, after the phrase, always keep talking. Don't just say, and then go silent. Follow it with a description or an attempt. Third, smile. In a conversation, even a small smile tells the other person, I'm fine, I'm just thinking. It keeps things comfortable for everyone. Those 3 tips will make a huge difference. Keep them in mind as we go into our third strategy now.
All right, the third strategy is one a lot of English learners feel shy about, but you really shouldn't. It's simply asking the other person for help, asking them for the word you need. And when you do it politely and naturally, it's completely fine. Actually, most people find it really nice to help.
Absolutely. Think about it. If a friend asked you for a word in your own language, wouldn't you be happy to help? It's the same in English, and there are some really smooth ways to ask. You can say, what's the word for, how do you say in English? Is there a word for, what do you call it when, sorry, what's the English word for?
Let me show you how these sound in real situations. Imagine you're talking to a coworker and you want to say something is delayed. You could say, oh, the project is, how do you say in English when something doesn't happen on time? And they'll say, delayed? And you say, yes, delayed, thank you. That whole exchange took 5 seconds and it was completely natural.
And here's something important about tone. When you ask for help with a word, use a light, casual tone. Don't sound embarrassed. Just sound curious, like you're genuinely interested in learning the word, because you are. Instead of saying it quietly and looking at the floor, say it confidently with a small smile. What's the word for that again? That's it. Easy.
You can also use this strategy when you're not sure if you're using the right word. You can say, I think the word is that the right word? For example, I think the word is nervous. Is that the right word for when your heart beats fast and you feel a little scared? That's a great way to check and learn at the same time.
And don't forget, you can ask for help with pronunciation too. Sometimes you know the word, but you're not sure how to say it. You can say, how do you pronounce this word? Or, am I saying this correctly? People love helping with that.
Let's do a little mini practice together right now. I'll pretend I've forgotten a word and I want you to notice how I ask for help. Ready? Here we go. So yesterday I went to that place, you know, the place where you go to exercise with all the machines. I always forget the word.
The gym?
Yes, the gym. Thank you. See how easy that was? It felt like a completely normal conversation. Nobody felt uncomfortable. The word came up naturally.
Now it's your turn. Think of something you often forget the word for in English. Practice asking, how do you say, or what's the word for out loud right now? Say it to yourself, say it to someone near you, or write the thing you forget in the comments. We want to hear it. Remember, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you're communicating, you're trying, and you want to keep learning. That's exactly what good language learners do.
Okay, we've made it to one of my favorite parts of the episode, the common mistakes section. And I'll be honest with you, I've made every single one of these mistakes myself. So don't feel bad if you recognize yourself here.
Let's look at 4 common mistakes that English learners make when they forget a word and how to fix them. Mistake number 1, going completely silent. This one is so common. You forget a word and you just stop.
You stare, you don't say anything, and the silence gets longer and more uncomfortable. Here's why this happens. We think we need the exact word before we can continue, but that's not true. You can always describe, you can always use a buying time phrase, you can always ask. Silence is the one option that actually stops the conversation. So the fix is never stop completely. Even if all you say is, how do I explain this? That's better than silence.
Mistake number 2, switching to your first language mid-sentence. So this sounds like, I need to go to the le marché, or I'm looking for the dukan. You just put in the word from your language and hope the other person understands.
The problem here is obvious. If the other person doesn't speak your language, they have no idea what you said, and it can feel a little jarring in the middle of an English conversation. The fix is to use a description instead. I need to go to the place where you buy food and vegetables. That works for everyone.
Mistake number 3, saying, I don't know the word and giving up. This one breaks my heart a little because when learners say, I don't know the word, sorry, they often stop talking completely and the whole conversation just ends there.
The fix is to follow I don't know the word with a description. So instead of just stopping, say, I don't know the exact word in English, but it's a thing that you use when, don't end with the problem, keep going with the solution.
Mistake number 4, over-apologizing. This sounds like, oh, I'm so sorry. My English is really bad. I'm sorry, I forget the word. I'm sorry.
Here's the thing. One quick apology is fine. Sorry, I forgot the word. But repeating the apology again and again actually makes the conversation harder, not easier. It puts the focus on your mistake instead of on what you're trying to say. So the fix is apologize once, briefly, and then move forward. Sorry, it's a kind of machine that... Done. Keep going.
Can you relate to any of those 4 mistakes? I'm sure most of us can. Write in the comments which mistake you make the most. Let's talk about it. And remember, making mistakes is part of learning. Every single person learning a language goes through this. You are not alone and you are doing great.
All right, it's practice time. This is one of my favorite parts of the episode. We're going to do a choose the correct sentence activity. I'll give you a situation and you choose the better response. Ready? Let's go. Situation 1. You're talking to a friend and you forget the word backpack. Which is better? Option A, you say nothing and look confused. Option B, you say, it's the bag you carry on your back for school or travel.
Option B is definitely better. Option A stops the conversation completely. Option B keeps things moving and gives a clear description. The other person will understand immediately.
Situation 2. You're in a meeting and you forget the word schedule. Which is better? Option A, I'm sorry, I don't know the word in English. Sorry. Option B, let me think how to say this. The plan with all the dates and times for the project.
Option B for sure. It's calm, it's descriptive, and it doesn't draw attention to the mistake. Option A puts too much focus on the problem.
Situation 3. You want to ask for help with a word. Which sounds more natural? Option A, what is the word? I forget. I don't know. Option B, what's the word for when you feel really happy and proud after finishing something difficult?
Option B, obviously. And by the way, the word is accomplished. You feel accomplished. But notice how option B described the feeling so clearly the other person could easily understand and give you the word.
Now, here is a challenge for you. Create your own sentence using one of today's strategies. It can be a description, a buying time phrase, or asking for help. Write it in the comments right now. We want to see what you come up with.
And remember, don't worry about being perfect. The goal is to keep the conversation going. A real, ongoing conversation with a small mistake is 10 times better than a perfect sentence you were too afraid to say. Keep talking. Always keep talking.
Wow, we covered so much today. I feel like after this episode, you're completely ready to handle one of the most stressful moments in English conversation, forgetting a word, with total confidence. Let's quickly go over what we learned today.
We covered 3 main strategies. Strategy 1, describe what you mean. Use phrases like, it's a thing that, and it's a place where, to explain the word without using it. Strategy 2, buy time. Use phrases like, how do I say this? Or, it's on the tip of my tongue, to keep the conversation moving while you think. Strategy 3, ask for help. Use what's the word for, or how do you say politely and confidently.
And we also talked about the 4 common mistakes to avoid: going silent, switching languages, giving up, and over-apologizing. If you can just avoid those 4 things, your conversations will flow so much better. Now, here's a reflective question for you to think about. The next time you're in an English conversation and you forget a word, which strategy are you going to try first? Think about it and let us know in the comments.
You know, learning English is a journey, and the fact that you're here, listening, practicing, trying, that already makes you ahead of so many people. Be proud of yourself. Every episode you watch, every comment you write, every time you speak out loud, that's progress, real progress.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please give it a like. It really helps more people find Talk with Hana. And share this episode with a friend who's learning English. They'll thank you for it. And of course, subscribe to Talk with Hana if you haven't already. We have so many more great episodes coming your way.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. Keep practicing, keep speaking, keep describing, and never let a forgotten word stop you from communicating. You've got this. We'll see you next time.